You once told me that when you came back we might be the same age. And today I'm the age you were when you left.
Let's talk about Matthew McConaughey, a true Hollywood icon with that cocky grin, those dreamy eyes, and a Texas swagger you can't mistake for anyone else. This man had it all: fame, talent, and a fortune estimated at $160 million. But behind all that glitz and glamour, there's a far more complex guy than you might think. Back in 1999, McConaughey made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Picture this. He's arrested at his Austin, Texas home, buck naked, and accused of possessing illegal substances. It was a scandal that left folks stunned, wondering if the golden boy of Hollywood was about to crash and burn with charges like that. You'd think the name Matthew McConaughey might have faded into obscurity, done and dusted, but hold on, this guy came roaring back, stronger than ever, clutching an Oscar and proving every doubter dead wrong. Matthew McConaughey's story isn't just about being a movie star. It's about a man on a quest to find himself, pushing through tough times and public judgment to live true to his own values. It's a journey so gripping, you won't be able to look away. Folks, let's dive into the early days of Matthew McConaughey, a man who grew up in a home filled with shouting matches, where his parents divorced and remarried 3 times, and money was always a nagging worry. But amidst that chaos, a remarkable determination started to take shape. 30 years later, that same kid would be holding a golden Oscar statue and sitting on a fortune worth over $140 million. How did Matthew rise above such an unsteady childhood to become a Hollywood legend? Born in 1969 in Uvalde, Texas, a small town where life could be pretty tough, Matthew's roots were humble. His dad, once a football player, had to switch to selling oil pipes, a job that was anything but steady, with income that came and went. His mom worked as a kindergarten teacher. Their marriage was a roller coaster. They split up, got back together, and did it all over again, 3 times. The family was often at odds, stretched thin by financial strain and emotional turmoil. That's the world Matthew grew up in. He once shared a memory from when he was just 12 years old, overhearing his parents late at night, talking about their debts. The young boy stood quietly in the shadows, thinking to himself, "I've got to be stronger to hold this family together." But the next morning, there they all were, sitting around the breakfast table, laughing and carrying on as if nothing had happened. Life went on like that, full of ups and downs. In the quiet moments of his childhood, Matthew found joy in simple things: playing football, spinning yarns for his siblings. By 14, he was delivering newspapers to help his mom out. The family moved often, forcing him to start over each time. But those moves taught him how to observe people, build connections, and tell stories like it was second nature. In 1988, a cultural exchange program took Matthew to Australia. Far from home, working odd jobs at a law office and a bank, he began to realize something: his heart wasn't in becoming a lawyer. It was in acting, in bringing characters to life. So, here's the question: could a poor college kid, with no connections in Hollywood, turn that passion into a career? That's a story that'll keep you hooked. Folks, let's talk about Matthew McConaughey's incredible journey. Back in the day, he was the go-to guy for romantic comedies: handsome, charming, and oh so predictable. But then, he pulled a vanishing act, stepping away from the big screen for nearly 3 years. When he came back, Hollywood was floored. The heartthrob once pegged as a pretty boy had transformed into a powerhouse, clutching an Oscar and launching his career into a whole new era. From the late 1990s to the mid-2000s, McConaughey ruled the rom-com scene. Movies like The Wedding Planner, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and Failure to Launch raked in hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office, turning him into a sought-after A-lister. His paychecks skyrocketed, sometimes hitting $15 million per film. But then, Matthew did something that left everyone stunned. He turned down role after role that felt like more of the same. He walked away from Hollywood, passing on lucrative offers, holding out for something different, a role that would prove he was a serious actor, not just a good-looking face. That moment arrived in 2011. He returned with The Lincoln Lawyer, a gritty crime drama that marked the first step in his comeback. Then came Mud in 2012, followed by Magic Mike, where he delivered a magnetic yet layered performance that made critics take notice. But those were just the warm-up. In 2013, Matthew took on the role of Ron Woodroof in Dallas Buyers Club, a physically and emotionally demanding part. He shed nearly 50 pounds to portray an AIDS patient, guiding audiences through a heart-wrenching yet deeply human story. That role didn't just earn him the Best Actor Oscar, it sparked what the media dubbed the McConaissance, the rebirth of Matthew McConaughey's career. Hot on the heels of his Oscar win, Matthew entered the brightest chapter of his career. He wasn't just showing up more, he was choosing roles with depth and care. In The Wolf of Wall Street, he shared the screen with Leonardo DiCaprio for just a few minutes. Yet his quirky, electric energy left a lasting impression. Then, in Christopher Nolan's Interstellar, he took us on a cosmic journey not with special effects, but with the tear-filled eyes of a father torn between science and love. And let's not forget his role as Detective Rust Cole in the first season of True Detective. Cool, brooding, and utterly haunting. That performance had critics raving, cementing that McConaughey had shed his old image and reached a rare level of artistry in Hollywood. From a predictable rom-com star, Matthew became a symbol of grit and reinvention. He showed the world that an actor can rewrite their destiny by saying no to the easy path and chasing something greater. So, what's life like for a man who went from off Hollywood's radar to its pinnacle, holding an Oscar and the title of America's most valuable leading man? The world behind the spotlight for Matthew McConaughey is something not everyone can imagine. Folks, after winning that Oscar, Matthew McConaughey didn't chase the spotlight. He chose his projects carefully, turning himself into a true cinematic brand. He starred in Interstellar, Christopher Nolan's sci-fi blockbuster that grossed over $700 million worldwide. His role as a father crossing space to save humanity's future won over critics and connected with a new generation of moviegoers, folks looking for depth, emotion, and humanity in film. From 2014 onward, McConaughey appeared less often, but every role left a mark. He voiced a character led films like Gold, White Boy Rick, and Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman, each showing a mature, sharp, and versatile Matthew, confident in any part. Every contract now wasn't just a role, it was a statement of his stature. By 2024, Matthew's net worth is estimated at $160 to $200 million. His income doesn't just come from acting, it's boosted by book royalties, ad deals with Lincoln Motor Company, and investments in real estate, sports, and his own brand. Off-screen, he's a lecturer at the University of Texas, where this former student now inspires others with his life lessons. In 2020, his memoir Greenlights hit shelves and became a national bestseller. In it, he wrote, "A green light is when you stop complaining and start doing. It's when you embrace the past to steer your life forward." From a typecast actor, Matthew McConaughey has become an icon not just for his awards, but for how he lives, works, and decides what's enough. In Austin, Texas, his main home, Old Oak Estate, isn't a flashy mansion built to impress. It's a real family haven, set on over 10 acres with a long stretch along Lake Austin. This rustic Mediterranean-style house was bought for about $6 million in 2012 and is now valued at over $10 million. Inside, it's open and full of light high ceilings, dark wood floors, and a solid Texas limestone fireplace where the family gathers on winter evenings. The dining room flows into a vintage-style kitchen with a wood-fired oven Matthew uses to bake pizza for the kids. There's a private gym, a library with over 1,000 books, and an old piano Camila brought from Brazil, where the couple often plays and sings on weekends. At the edge of the garden sits a small wooden cabin Matthew calls the shack. It's his morning retreat, with just a wooden desk, an oil lamp, and an unfinished notebook where he penned Greenlights and meditates to the sound of morning birds. For Matthew, it's his center of calm in a whirlwind life. In Kauai, Hawaii, he owns a beachfront villa worth about $7.8 million, perched beside white sands with sweeping ocean views. Unlike many stars, Matthew doesn't wall off his property or distance himself from locals. The house is fully open, with sliding glass walls that let in the sea breeze and salty air each morning, natural teak floors, a palm-thatched roof, and lanterns line the outdoor hallways. A small path leads to a private beach where Matthew teaches his kids to surf or sits by a fire with Camila at night. In the garden, Camila grows organic vegetables in a greenhouse, while Matthew tends to avocado trees. Mornings start with coffee on the porch, watching the sunrise and reading no phones. "No meetings," a neighbor once said. Matthew lives like a local no driver, no bodyguards, just lining up at the farmer's market like everyone else. Before settling down, He spent 4 years roaming in an Airstream trailer he called the Canoe, a mobile home worth about $90,000. Matthew designed its minimalist interior himself, cozy, functional, with space to work, read, and stargaze through a skylight. He towed it from Malibu to Arizona, Oregon to New Mexico, camping by the ocean or parking in desolate deserts. He once said, "I don't buy homes to compete with anyone. I live where I feel like myself." That choice defines the Matthew we see today, a star who's never lost his roots. Matthew McConaughey isn't into supercars, no Lamborghinis, Bentleys, or shiny McLarens gracing magazine covers. For him, the perfect vehicle gets the family to a quiet hilltop or handles hundreds of miles on dusty back roads without worrying about scratches. Like his rugged, honest, Texas-bred lifestyle, Matthew's garage is full of memories, not trophies. His GMC Yukon XL Denali, worth about $80,000, is the SUV he drives to work, drops the kids at school, or heads to Colorado's mountains each winter for long family road trips. He relies on a Chevrolet Suburban 4x4, spacious, tough, and a loyal companion for over a decade. These SUVs aren't new, but they're spotless, with camping gear stowed in the back, ready for a spontaneous midnight adventure. Then, there's his silver Airstream trailer, a classic 2004 model nicknamed the Canoe, valued at around $100,000. It's his second home. For years, he crisscrossed America in it, living, working, and writing green lights at a small wooden table by a window facing the mountains. The interior is simple but complete: a single bed, a shelf of philosophy books, and a few bottles of wine for sunset sips. He once said, "I found my voice in this little metal box." In Hawaii, at his beachside retreat, he drives an old Ford Bronco worth about $40,000. Its roof is worn, the paint faded, but cruising coastal roads with wind-tousled hair. That's Matthew at his truest, anonymous and free. Another gem is his 1983 Toyota Land Cruiser, used for hunting trips and deep woods camping in Texas. It's battered and scratched, but runs as reliably as its owner's grit. Matthew teaches his kids to build fires, pitch tents, and listen to nature from its back seat. While much of Hollywood lives in staffed mansions with tightly scheduled days, Matthew McConaughey goes the opposite way. He's up at 5 in the morning, not for scripts or emails, but to meditate in silence, jot down journal entries, and jog the dirt trails around his home. In his sprawling Texas estate's garden, he mows the lawn himself, harvests fresh vegetables, and shows his kids how to pitch tents, purify water, and start fires. He believes in greenlight's life's positive signals and lives slowly to notice them every day. He carves out an hour to read, not scripts, but philosophy, history, and politics. Books like The War of Art and Meditations are constants on his wooden desk. In his free time, he takes the family to Colorado's forests, camping with no tech in sight. He once shared, "I want my kids to value silence. Happiness comes from sitting by a campfire, hearing birds, and smelling smoke on your clothes." Here's the kicker: he almost never uses a stylist in public. He's a modern cowboy: linen shirts, faded jeans, worn leather boots, no flash, no pretense. Just him, authentic, natural, and at ease with his age. His diet is disciplined but not rigid: lean meats, vegetables, low carbs, and he doesn't shy away from a drink. Weekends often find him and his wife sharing a glass of red wine, playing old jazz, and listening to the wind sweep across their Texas fields. Matthew's lifestyle isn't the wild freedom the media paints. It's a disciplined mindset, a curated, minimalist, meaningful way of living. Much like his approach to roles: not many, but the right ones. Though once Hollywood's most eligible bachelor, Matthew McConaughey never put his career first. For him, the real peak isn't the Oscar, it's the quiet moments with his wife and kids when the cameras are off. He met Camila Alves, a Brazilian model, in 2006 at a low-key Los Angeles party. "I saw her walk by, and it was like time stopped," he once recalled. They didn't date like celebrities, splashing their romance on magazine covers. Instead, they quietly built a family on a solid foundation. In 2012, they married in Texas in a small ceremony with close family and friends, no cameras, no paparazzi. Today, They live with their 3 children, Levi, Vida, and Livingston, in their $10 million Austin home. Matthew is a hands-on dad, driving the kids to school, teaching them to chop wood, play instruments, and above all, live responsibly. In an interview, he said, "Fame's just a shadow. I want my kids to know who they are when the lights aren't on." The McConaughey family is also active in their community. They founded the Just Keep Livin' organization, supporting high schoolers from tough backgrounds. Unlike flashy fundraisers, Matthew visits schools himself, sharing his story, listening to kids, and offering guidance. He believes every child has a shot if someone takes the time to listen. What's remarkable is that, despite the limelight, Matthew has never lost himself. He stays in touch with old school friends, returns to Texas for his brother's birthday, and credits his mom as his lifelong anchor in speeches. That's what sets him apart. Matthew McConaughey isn't just a great actor. He's a man who lives authentically, loves his family deeply, and never forgets where he came from. Folks, when a star steps away from the spotlight, people start to wonder what's going on. With Matthew McConaughey, scandals were never loud and splashy, but they were there quiet, like scratches no one wants to talk about. Back in the late 1990s, when his star was rising fast, Matthew got into trouble at his Austin home. The police caught him causing a public disturbance, playing bongo drums in the nude in the middle of the night. With the smell of marijuana in the air, the press jumped on it, turning him into a punchline in the tabloids. "That was the moment I lost control," he later admitted. But that incident didn't derail his career. Instead, it became a turning point that made Matthew take a hard look at himself. He stepped back from the party scene, stopped chasing fleeting fame, and embarked on a journey to find deeper meaning in his life. Sometime later, when he turned down predictable rom-com roles, the offers dried up for nearly 2 years. It was a silence so long that many thought he was washed up. But Matthew held firm. "I'd rather wait for the right role than lose myself," he said. And then came Ron Woodroof, the role of an AIDS patient in Dallas Buyers Club *. He dropped nearly 50 pounds to embody the character. Every day on set was a grueling test of body and mind, but that role brought him back in a blaze of glory, earning him the Best Actor Oscar in 2014 and cementing his place among Hollywood's most formidable talents. Still, his toughest challenge came from the most personal place: family. In 2018, Matthew lost his father, the rock of his turbulent childhood. "He passed away in my mother's arms, just like he always said he would. I'll go when I'm loving the most," Matthew shared, his words laced with both grief and peace. That loss pushed him to spend more time with his mother, his wife, and his kids, focusing on values that money can't measure. Folks, when you've got wealth, fame, and a golden Oscar to your name, what's next for Matthew McConaughey? It wasn't about chasing blockbusters or buying a fancier mansion. Instead, he turned to sharing. In 2020, his memoir, *Greenlights*, hit the shelves not to boast, but to tell a story, the journey of a Texas boy who once didn't know who he was, until he learned to listen to his own heart. The book shot to the top of the New York Times bestseller list, and what made it special was Matthew's voice, honest, humorous, and unpolished. He talks about catching green lights, those small, positive signs in life that, no matter how faint, light the way forward. It's a message not just for actors, but for anyone standing at a crossroads, feeling lost. Alongside his acting, Matthew serves as a distinguished professor at the University of Texas, where he once studied. He teaches storytelling and film without taking a single penny for it. For him, passing the torch matters more than keeping it to himself. In 2021, during the pandemic, Matthew and his wife Camilla Alves donated hundreds of thousands of face masks and supported communities through their Just Keep Livin' Foundation, which focuses on helping high school kids from tough backgrounds. He lives quietly, steering clear of the noisy showbiz world. No flashy social media, no headline-grabbing stunts. But everything he does, every book, every class, every role has purpose. Now, at 55 years old, Matthew McConaughey doesn't need to prove anything. He lives with his wife and 3 children in Austin, Texas, where it all began. His net worth is estimated at over $160 million. But the real treasure he holds is the peace he's found after all the ups and downs. He may not be the brightest star in the sky, but in a world that's always changing, Matthew McConaughey has shown us true light comes from within.